Welcome on in, everyone, for episode 9 of Coffee Before Bed, an LPL talk show. I am Mazel. I'm joined by Kangas. We have producer Kai. I was going to try to say your Twitter name. That was going to go awful. Uh, we are here to cover the last 3 days of the LPL. And you might be wondering, why are we here? Well, I'm an LPL caster. I usually am going to bed right now. I actually, unfortunately, today just woke up. So maybe not sticking
Yeah,
with the
you were up
plan. But
early.
Kangas is a morning man for some reason, the rarity of that. And he needs to learn about the LPL sometimes. So I'm going to teach him and teach you all what happened the last 3 days. Are you ready, Kangas?
I'm ready. It's going to be an
You
eventful
actually
morning
have
for me.
coffee?
I do have coffee. I'm not beating the allegations from last week or last episode. That was in fact tea. And I did take a nap after the episode, but today we're
Nice.
staying up, so this is coffee.
Again, I'm train wrecking the whole thing though. This entire time because
Yeah, we're going to LCS after this too, so you're
because I'm
you're going to be
awake.
like really tired today.
We're gonna see how that goes. But anyways, that is what we're gonna be getting into today. Again, it'll be the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th. So let's go ahead and bring up the first day that we had. And again, all 3 of these days will be 3 best of 3s apiece. So a lot of games. So we're gonna try to keep it short and sweet for you, because
No
that's a
way.
lot of games to cover.
The higher placing team won all their games or all their series at least.
Shocker! Who'da thunk it? Whoa! All right.
Unheard of.
So when we look at this whole graphic, we look at the Weibo 2-0 over LGD. It's kind of expected. LGD still haven't found their first win. We have EDG's 2-1 over IG, highlighting that Uzi's return. It's a banger. Also, IG with new players, kind of cool. TS
Nice.
versus FPX went exactly as expected, and Mr. Jackie Love popped off. So we'll go ahead and start taking a look at some of these games. And I'm trying something new here. The graphic is probably going to be a little small today. I'll try
Oh
to pick
boy.
apart the information a little bit for you. But hopefully next time I'll be able to get bigger graphics because I just need the screenshot
Especially
bigger.
especially
Uh,
for the audio only listeners. We forgot about that last episode
yeah,
that we
we
did
did.
probably
Yeah,
explain more of what's on
you're at a
screen.
disadvantage if you're at audio. You
Check out the
get
video,
good.
everybody. Yeah.
Get good. All right. So this is the Weibo game versus LGD series. I will say, game 1 was almost a perfect game. One tower made the difference. One tower in game number 1. For LGD.
So is
So
this not game one that we're looking at the stats?
this
Because
is the
oh
entire series. Yeah,
oh
this
okay.
is
Because I've
both
seen
games.
deaths on everybody. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that
So
makes
this
more
is
sense.
total stats. You can see Decade, a new player who was just subbed in actually this last week, did not have a good day. Went 0 and 6
That's
the entire day. Meteor went 0 and
both
5,
games.
also not looking great. Love that Meteor is sticking to aggressive champions. That's one thing about Meteor for LGD is he's the guy that played Nautilus jungle. He's the guy that was playing Rumble jungle. He's like been picking a bunch of crazy picks. It's kind of cool.
Has he
But
played the Rel Jungle? I want to
has
see
not
somebody
yet.
play
Maybe
that.
now. Well, we're still on 1311, so I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think that's gonna happen anytime
I
soon.
thot it was 1311 that buffed it.
I
I'll
think it
have to
was
talk
this
with
last
Rafa. I
patch.
actually don't know.
It was this 1312 that made the like actual jungle pack. We were.
Mm.
I figured that out last night with Rafa. We were. We faced
Nice.
off against the real jungle. That was not fun. Anyways, yeah, pretty dominant win from Weibo. I specifically love to highlight that Light was a big part of their series tonight, and against LGD, it's not that much, but I feel like Light has been an unsung member of the Weibo roster when you look at all the other stars.
I I
Him
remember
and
that
Topaz
name
now.
from Spring Split when we like the from the first episodes. I don't remember
Yeah,
what the
he
context
was
was, but
originally
the
on
fact that I remember the
LNG
name.
back when, but he came over to Weibo and
Okay.
has been doing
12,
decent.
1 and
That's good.
7. That's a
Uh,
19 KDA across 2
yeah,
games.
2 games, not too
Wait,
bad.
Xiao had
uh,
a 20 KDA. What the hell?
Yeah. When
That's a
you have
stop,
an
I guess.
almost
Yeah.
perfect game in game number 1 with 20
Yeah.
kills, yeah, I'd say
Shout
pretty
out to
good.
the Shy for not
There was
dying
also an
also.
achievement had during this, and Crisp hit 5,000 assists. Huge
Woo! We
stuff.
love
That's a
supports.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo! World champion Crisp. Woo!
But has he placed his 10,000th award yet? Probably, actually.
Don't
I would
know.
assume if he's got
Maybe,
5,000
probably.
assists, he's placed more wards.
Is there an assist to placing wards ratio that you have?
Not offhand, but that would be kind of a funny stat just because supports like don't get many stats to like hype up to be like
Just
this is
add
their
another useless
1 millionth
stat to
ward blaze.
the table. All right, but now we gotta get to the real good stuff, the meat and potatoes of it all. We got the return of the king, Uzi, as came
He's
in
back.
the EDG versus IG series, and we have some clips. This is the start. This is his intro. Look how humble the man king is.
The Man
Feels so
King.
good. The man king
Are we
coming
sticking
out
with
to
that?
his like, oh, my smile.
Look at that Man King right
The
there.
entire stadium was just like so loud. It was actually insane.
I imagine.
Uh
Yeah, because they
yeah.
do individual players that walk out one at a time for
Yeah.
every single game, right?
And last split we used to have intros for like almost every player at the beginning of the split. It got people stopped doing it after a little while, but now we
Oh,
just have walkouts. It's okay. But anyways, moving on to our next clip. This is where gameplay actually happens. And this moment right here, if Uzi is not a Chad, I don't
okay.
know what
So
a
he's a
Chad is
Felios.
anymore. Starts off a little bit wonky, and it's a little bit of a long clip, so keep with it. But Uzi has Mako on top of him on the UV. He's on this Aphelios, and just watch how he puts himself in this position, and he says, "Fight me."
Yeah, wait, this is actually. Oh,
It's
I love
so bad.
aggroing the
Look at this.
dragon to be
Stop the
CC.
wave. You shall not
Oh
pass.
my god.
It literally is just a little moment. It didn't really mean anything. But I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, those are those moments where so many 80 carries would just die. They would not go into the pit or they would try and like fight their way out. Does he have flash while he's there? Some would probably just flash
Yeah,
immediately.
he has
My
flash
favorite part
plenty
is that he autos the dragon. That's the first thing he does. So he
because he
aggroes
wants
it.
the
So it,
AOE
yeah,
onto
it pushes
the
them all back. That was really good.
yeah. So it's like on definitely ends this one. For like 100% ends that. As,
Yeah, a little bit. We do a little bit of trolling.
but
Oh,
then
the slow mo so
Uzi's
cool.
literally stepping up against a Nautilus who, albeit doesn't have ulti,
Hmm.
Cryans, Annie who has Tibbers, and a
You have
Maokai.
you have
He's like,
flash to
let's
get
go.
away,
He
and
also
Annie's
hit the
not
dragon to
close
get that
enough.
knockback on a wink.
Yeah.
Look how much damage it does, man.
Cryan does get the combo in, but by that point, everybody else had already seen the TP coming, and they were like, Ale's going
Yeah.
to be here. We got to get out. So that seems like it was maybe miscommunication from ID. I understand from an Annie's perspective. You're like, no, but I'm here. I'm going to get the
But I
carry.
can do it.
They're
I can
like, hey, he's
press the
got cleanse and
combo.
flash. I don't know if you're really getting him.
All right, let's go ahead and
Cool play, though.
go to
Cool
the
play.
next clip. As the next clip was actually an interesting one, just for the fact that it was. Oh, I don't remember actually. No, it was this. Yep.
Oh, hi. Hi,
I was
Fofo.
like, I couldn't remember where the clip started. Yeah, so if you look really quick, yes, the damage is cool, the execution is cool, but it's also the build. Win is a brand new top laner. He's filling in for YSKM. He's like an emergency call up from the LDL. This man went full lethality gangplank.
Two lethality. Two lethality gangplank.
Oh, okay, damage gangplank. There, are you happy?
So
Yeah,
Navori quick blades plus I'm blanking on that one. It's the ultimate cooldown one every time you get a kill.
Axiom arc.
Axiom arc. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
With
Mm-hmm,
collector and then
mm-hmm,
essence
mm-hmm.
reaver.
It's
So
pretty,
still a
pretty
lot of
awesome.
crit, but
Pretty awesome.
yeah, the double lethality and having that gangplank ult up constantly. That's actually really cool because that's like what 20% ultimate cooldown or something whenever you get a kill or an assist.
Whatever a quarter. If you look at the whenever Fofo dies, it goes to
Yeah.
about a quarter cooldown.
Yeah, you're gonna have that
So
ultimate.
not
And
too
then you just
shabby.
get Elder too. So
But there was one king. I thought I grabbed the clip, but it looks like I didn't. But there was a clip of Uzi who just Infernum ultied like all 5 members of IG and did 60% of all of their health. It was actually insane. And then he got player of the game of that game, which is represented in our graphic that we have. Just don't have the clip for it. But our graphic shows that Uzi in his Aphelios
oh
game did 44% of his team's
yeah,
damage.
what is up with these LPL?
Yeah.
This is the second episode now. We've
Yeah.
had an Aphelios
Hmm.
above 40% team
It's
damage.
200 years, man. 200
It's
years.
crazy.
So we have the graphic coming up of the series itself, the breakdown. Again, bear with us; it's a little bit small. Try to break it down for you. It was Uzi with a 3.3 KDA in his first game series back. 10, 9, and 20 across the 3-game series. They did lose the game in game 2, so it was a little bit
Dude,
finicky.
he's 10.6 CS per minute.
Yep.
How do you take time off? Like you retire, come back to professional play, first game back on stage as an 80 carry, you're still hitting above 10. Nobody else in the series had that. What's your excuse
he's
on?
Uzi,
I guess he
bro. Like,
lost
what do
the
you
series.
want? What
That's
do
the
you?
excuse.
He's got a kid to play for now. Come on,
Yeah.
let's
That's a
go. He's
dad
got
bump. He's extra
motivation.
motivated. It's like pursuit of happiness, right? He's
Yeah.
I gotta make it happen. I gotta get it. Gotta get that CS now. I have no other choice.
JJ played Elise in game 3. And actually got player of the game for game 3, which was pretty sick. They also had Cassante Sion in their solo lanes, which you know, guess
They
that's
went
the meta we're
Cassante
in
mid
now.
all 3 games.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yep.
Aphelios,
Fofo.
Yumi, Aphelios, Braum, then Lucian, Melio.
I do
Yeah,
appreciate Win whipping out the gameplay twice in a row. It's also one of his like most played champs in LDL, so helps a decent amount. Now moving on to our next series, TS versus FPX. We had a little bit of a shorter series. It was a pretty dominant series from top, but more importantly, Rookie and Jackie Love, man, they are on fire so far in the split. I think last split was such a disappointment for them. And even the beginning of this split was kind of a disappointment. But the last couple series they played, both of them are cranking out MVPs. They're both getting huge numbers, being extremely influential. In this series, in 2 games, Rookie had a 20 KDA. He went 6-1 and 14. Rookie, huge numbers. He was on the Syndra in game number 1. And he was on the Ari in game number 2. He had Jackie Love with a 9.5 KDA, 8-2 and 11 was on the Zeri and the Aphelios, of course. But Mark also having a big influence in a lot of that, playing Lulu and Yumi with a 21 KDA across the board. So top esports representing.
Yeah. Solid stuff. And those are very fast games, too. 26 minutes and 27 minutes.
Yeah.
They finished that series in under an hour of game time.
Yeah. So TS are now 5-1, so they're joining the upper echelon of.
Hey, remember when FPX won Worlds? That was fun.
Yeah, I remember that. I also remember that LWX is the only Worlds contending member left. Bonnie got a start though. That's actually pretty huge. They've been using my brain. You know, it's hard when I'm just waking up or trying to go to sleep.
Would you like some assist? I can go look up their roster.
Nah,
real
I
quick.
got it. They were using Hacker, who was on Ultra Prime before, had come over to FPX, and he's very aggressive usually, but not working out this split. And then they had Bonnie come over from KT Challengers, LCK Challengers roster. I think he came in just for these last 2 weeks. He came at the end of May. So
Wow.
just at the start of the split, they had to change up. And
How's Bonnie looking? Are we impressed?
You know, I thought the Poppy was a interesting pick. People don't really have the confidence to pick Poppy if they're not like a standard jungler in the LPL. But I appreciated that. Thought it Kazakhs probably needed a little bit of help, but didn't get it. So you know, it is what it is when you're at FPX.
It is what it is.
Yeah, fend for yourself a little bit.
So who's got the higher win rate right now, Yumi or Milio? Because I'm still seeing this guy crazy high
that's a good
presence.
question.
I'm assuming
I honestly
100%
don't know.
pick,
Get
right?
them both out, please.
I mean, I'm seeing more Yumi wins, but I'm also seeing Yumi make it through more. So that might be part
Emilio's
of the
banned
factor.
like almost every single game, and if it's not, there's a reason.
You were
Usually it's
telling
like
me
a
about
first pick
this.
something.
that in LPL, red side is basically banning Melio and Yumi if they're
We've
getting
actually
both
also seen it
banned.
in blue side a lot. Just the day we were talking about it, the night when I was casting, we had 2 games where they banned it on blue side, both of them on blue side.
No, actually, now that I look at it, that did happen. Top
Yeah, it
Esports
happened here
banned
too.
Melio and Yumi in the first game. So the thing with the Melio Yumi is either you go. My thought process was either you go for the handshake or both teams ban it, because otherwise red team has to ban it both times. Because
Mhm.
if they only ban one of them, blue team doesn't have to ban the other one because they can just
Yeah.
first pick it. Um, but
But
I
then
guess
you
we
get
are
into
seeing
the
also.
conversation where we've seen a lot of teams playing with the fact that there's like 3 or 4 big meta picks that define games right now.
Mhm.
And that's where red side is actually coming out on top because you get one, but then you get a double lock in on the red side. So like you give them one power pick, but you're like, hey, I got 2. It
Yeah,
works
true,
out.
true.
So a lot of time it's Nico that's given over. We've seen Casante a lot of the time as
Mm,
well. So yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Oh, thank you, Kai.
81% ban rate for Emilio.
Yeah, we just
Thanks,
heard from
Kai. That's
producer Kai.
actually
When
insane.
you hop in, can the audience hear you? No.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
Kai
So
just gave us
we'll
some
repeat that
awesome
information. We'll
stats
repeat that. Thank you,
about
Kai.
Emilio.
Uh, and also interestingly in the second series in IG, the game that they only banned Yumi and they left Melio up, they countered with the Blitzcrank. Now they didn't get the
Yeah,
win, but that kind of makes sense. Like if you're gonna leave one up, I think the goal would be to go
just
for some kind of
upend it.
counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to day 2 because we still got a lot of games. we gotta get through these games.
Oh, I
We
thought
had
that was it. I thought those were the only.
nope,
Okay. Well,
nope. That
yep.
was day 1, buddy.
I'll shut up.
We still got 2 days to go. All right, so we got
I thought we had
LNG
time. I was like, all
that
right, we can
took
really
a
dive into Big
2-0
Fan.
over RA. It was a pretty big stomp. This was a night where all of our top teams were taking to the Rift. LNG, JDG, BLG. The expectations were 2-0s across the board. LNG got that started right. They destroyed RA. Did not look good. Xiaoshu, actually, our rookie in the top lane was the only thing that looked good. We'll get to that in a little bit. JDG, they lost a game against AL. Like,
How
what do
could
you
they do
say about
this?
that? I don't know, but they still won. So in the end, I guess it doesn't matter.
Were you
Uh,
casting this night?
I was casting that series.
Was this also Alk's cast?
It was me and Alk,
Nice, nice.
the first 2 series of the night, and then we
Wow,
had
they couldn't give you
BLG
all
take a 2.
an easy night. Wow, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, the second series was kind of a shocker, but it was fun. So let's go ahead and get to the first series of the day. It was LNG versus RA. Again, a bit of domination happening. 24 minutes for the second game, but about 27 for the first. We had
Wow.
the Jace in game number 1 for Scout was actually insane. We'll get to that in a second. But I do want to keep going over some of the stats here. Scout, as a series whole, ended at 23 KDA with a
10,
10
1,
1
and
and 13
13.
performance. Gala, unkilled in the entire series of 2 games,
With double
11
digit
0 and
kills
13.
and assists. That's crazy.
Yeah. He did also play Zai both games. Kind of OP if you're
Yeah.
trying to survive.
Those are the kinds of performances though where that's like record KDA farming, where you're just
yeah.
like, okay, if I just don't die and I get as many kills and assists as possible, I can try and go for like crazy numbers by the end of the split.
Yeah. And this was also a game where Tarzan was just oppressing Leyen on the other side a lot of the time, even on the Maokai. A lot of the like team fights, I framed it in the cast as kind of like a wrestling match, where as soon as you slip once, Tarzan puts you in a chokehold, and then you're either tapping out or you're passing out, and that's kind of what happened in this series. More so in game number 1, game 2, they actually had a little bit of a fight back, but yeah, it still wasn't close. I think
Wow.
Strive had a decent performance, but then I do want to go highlight Scouts Jace as we'll bring up his player of the game graphic here. 38% damage on the Jace. First strike.
That was with the
Dusk
Zaya
Blade.
and a Jax on your team. I guess the Jax
Yeah.
won't be doing like a crazy percentage
Nah,
damage, but yeah.
Jax was side laning.
Yeah.
But pretty impressive stuff from Scout. Earned himself the play of the game. Really good series from LNG. Kind of again expected. This is where we were like, okay, well things are going as expectations should. And then we got to JDGAL. And we're gonna go take a look at the series as a whole for that one. It was AL came out absolutely swinging in game one. It's 31-28 as the timer, but man, after minute 3, AL were in JDG's jungle. They were fighting over everything that Kanavi wanted. On the Vi, he couldn't do anything for Kanavi. It was a Nocturne combo. As soon as they got to level 6, they paired the Nico with the Nocturne, and it was dirty. It was literally, Al kept trying to talk, and every time he would try to talk, we would go into a fight. There was a replay, there was a picture in picture of a fight happening because they were just constantly fighting for 31 minutes. And it was impressive. I thought it was that was the game plan we set up for anyone's legend coming into the series. We're like, you cannot take JDG to a late game fight. You will not win. That is what they win at. They're not good in the early game, though. You can try to take an early game against them. Maybe you get something, but you have to drive that home. And there were threats. Like there were a lot of times where you're still getting pop-offs, and Ruler was getting very close to 1v9ing the entire team. But yeah, it was really impressive. And then things went as they should, where JDG kind of smashed them in game 2 and 3.
I am noticing this is one of the games where Red Side did not ban Melio or Yumi, but they got it. So does that mean Nico was first picked from anyone's legend in game 1?
So I would say game 1, Nico's first pick. Game 2, Cassante. And then I think game 3, AL were on red side. So I think it was the Cassante pick for JDG. So
Yeah.
Cassante's been finding a lot of priority in first picks, which I find interesting because a lot of times if the top laner is not proficient or like finding advantages, it becomes a bit difficult and you see it not really do much.
I see the same thing, at least in NA with Gragas, where it's like, okay, it's blind pickable and it's flexible between top and mid, so it just gives a lot of value in pick ban. I see Cassandre kind of the same way because like we've seen it in mid a lot. But yeah, I guess that just shows that Nico just steals games.
Yeah,
So
Nico's
good.
insane. JDG got real angry in game number 3. The end difference in gold was almost 16,000. They were not
15.5K.
happy that they lost the game. It was funny though because going into the series, missing the support for JDG, even in an interview that we had, was speaking saying he didn't want to give any interviews to any team that comes to Beijing, that comes to JDG's home arena. And we got to see AL take a game off of them, while on the other side, missing was saying no interviews. You had 369 saying they don't want to lose a single game at their home arena. They don't want to give their fans any sadness. And AL comes in and takes the dub. It was so cool. AL have also taken a game off of BLG. This is a team that they feel so confident about. In AL's interviews, they say, we are not worse than any other team. We feel like we can fight any team. We feel confident that we can take anybody on the Rift, and we want to scrap with you. We want to fight you. We don't want to back down. And that was echoed through multiple members. So I think it's pretty cool. It's a nice little story going on.
They're 1-5 in series, but taking games off of the top 2 teams is pretty big.
It's pretty cool. We do have a status because I think that we had something from LPL English. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
We do.
That's what it was. This was game number 1 when they won the game because ZDZ backdoored Aznar in game number 1. And like had Hull Breaker, had all this crazy stuff. It was actually so awesome. And he got super excited about it. Yeah, you can look at the game.
Oh wait, we got it. Okay.
So he's actually pushing on the bottom side right now, and AL we're forcing the Baron.
Oh, this is a
fight.
terrible position for JDG.
Yeah. Harder also getting the start again for a second time in a row, misses mullet. But literally, it's just ZDZ ending the game. Like JDG are fighting here, and 369 sitting there like, guys, there's a Gnar. There's a Gnar.
You can see 369 like grouping with the team at first, going to Barrett and being like, "Well, I can't do that. I gotta, I gotta
he
stay
gets
on the
it by a
base."
country mile too. Like there's literally nothing. He's gonna go over the side here.
Oh,
bam. Yeah. Dude,
that's so
excited. Look at that. ZDZ in his chair. It's great stuff. That's
Because
the
they
kind of stuff
just
you live
lost a
for.
lot of members after the bear. So that would have actually,
Yeah.
if JDG hold out there, that's one of those moments where you could swing back into the game.
Yeah. So had to give some love to AL because they deserve it. They deserve it. Let's go over to TT versus BLG now, though. Again, a night of expectations, and 2 out of 3 teams did meet those. BLG 2-0 over TT, and
How many
it
teams are in
wasn't
the
as
league again?
dominant. 17.
17.
teams.
So Thundertalk are currently 16 out of 17 teams.
Yep.
Where are Ninjas in Pajamas?
They are 6th. They're 4-3.
Okay. Well, I guess it's going to be a bit of a David versus Goliath in the match of the split.
I hate you. So we had Rek'Sai pick the game number 2 for TT. They obviously lost with it, but they were trying something. I think trying to give over at least some aggressive picks to their new jungle, Xiao Huan Gren. I'm probably saying it awfully, but he's their new jungle sub in for Beichuan, who Beichuan actually I thought was a pretty promising jungler. Uh, it's interesting that they want to make the change. Obviously, things not going well for TT, so make a change somewhere. These are a couple picks where it fits the style, but not the execution. And I think when you're giving big meta picks over to BLG and especially Shun with the Wukong, the Maokai, like you're just going to get choked out. And we kind of saw that here in the series.
How popular is Rek'Sai in LPL right now? Like,
Not
is she picked a
popular. We've
lot?
only seen it picked a couple times at this point.
Okay.
And I don't know if it has a win.
It kind of feels like it could be a popular pick, but also like if the game gets out of control as Rek'Sai, it's over. And
Yeah.
LPL, this just feels so chaotic. Like you can't guarantee that you're going to win the early game. It's more about the big team fight moments.
Yeah. I will say UCal still Elo held. I'm sorry, UCal. Please find another team. You are so good and you are so Elo held. Feels bad for UCal, but hopefully he can keep himself positive. On the other side, Shun and Ben were actually the big combos. 22 KDA for Ben, 6-1 and 16 as a whole on the Malphite in game 1, Gragas in game 2. And he had 13.5 KDA for Shun, who had the Wukong and the Maokai. So not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Nice.
Now we're going to move on to our accolade for this series because 3,500 assists have gone into Yagao's pockets. And we're starting to get some good accolades.
That's 1,500 less than the last accolade, so I'm not impressed.
It's also, cool. Cool, bro. Just discount our players like that. Whatever. I don't want to talk to
Hey,
you.
look, I'm just gonna say
Anyways.
LCS had the best one so far this week, and that's Solo being the first 30-year-old in the league. So get on our level,
first 30-year-old
LPL.
to do a lot of things. All right, let's move on to day 3 because we still have 3 more series.
Yeah.
It's still so long. Top esports with a 2 over LGD expected. LGD 0-7 now.
Fast day.
Are they looking like the 0-16 team of the split? There's always one. It's always one. FPX versus RNG. RNG took a 2-0. Looking really good with their combos kind of coming together. Finally, it feels like. And then Ultra Prime fall 0-2 to NIP. The Reign of Shadow for NIP has come alive. God, I miss this man. I'm so happy he's back.
Is that the same Shadow that was on
It is
Mad
the
Lions?
same Shadow.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet.
He was on LGD for a long time and did not do great. And he took some time off, or I guess he was a sub technically. And he came in this split to sub in for Xiaolong Bao and took his spot, and they have not looked back since.
Cool.
Pretty sick. Pretty sick.
I gotta say, LGD. I like this logo.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the logo? It feels like
Doesn't look like an
classic
LGD.
football club to me. It doesn't look like an L, the DIC, but I guess that's why the L is blue. Yeah.
Trying. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
I like Ultra Prime's logo personally, but that's just me. Up with a lightning bolt.
This looks like a 90s Mountain Dew offshoot.
That's exactly what it is, all right?
Mountain Dew
releasing soda near you sometime soon.
This one with triple the caffeine.
Top esports versus LGD. I want to go ahead and bring up the games graphic as we did have those 2 games go over to top esports. I believe they were pretty dominant as well. I think it was like an 11,000 gold deficit in game number 1.
Yep.
I was right. It's 11.1. Ha! All the ones. Game
So
2 was
these were the games
definitely
last
more
night, right?
scrappy. What?
Were these the games last night?
Yes.
Okay, or like a
Just
couple
today.
hours
Yeah, a
before
couple hours ago.
right now.
It was a quick night.
Cool, cool.
All 3 series in 5.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually that's 6 games.
Yep.
Ooh.
Quick. It was quick. So we had a couple key bands. I think when you look at top esports side, they had some very focused bands towards Meteor. Meteor is the guy I was telling you about. Is trying to kind of pick different things. We saw them actually because we play like every other day for every team. They were one of the teams at the very beginning of this day that also got destroyed in their series. And it didn't look good again this time around. I think Decade is looking a little bit more confident. He was the new pick into LGD, call up from LDL. But it's still tough when you're going up against a very tough schedule for them. And Top Esports did not hold back. Rookie Jackie Love again. I'm gonna repeat myself as I said earlier. Like these two guys, it finally is coming together. Like they are hard smurfing on games. And I feel like we haven't seen that in a long time. For Rookie, it's been a long time coming. They went 22 KDA for Rookie and 24 KDA for Jackie Love across the 2 games.
24. I mean, I guess you are against the last place team that hasn't picked up a
You
series
are,
win.
yeah.
So.
DPM for Jackie Love was 818. That's actually insane.
Wait, that's that. Wow.
11.6 KDA. Uzi, where are you at now?
That's nuts.
Yeah, pretty insane stuff. Really love that Ricky and Jackie Love are turning it on. I put Top Esports as like my number 3 or number 2 in my preseason poll, and I had so many haters messaging and commenting saying, "Wow, Top
Malding.
Esports all the way at the top, huh? Oh, what is Top Esports doing?" I'm just saying, it could be the year of Rookie and Jackie Love.
Keep the receipts, Lennon. Keep them.
Keeping the receipts, baby. Keeping the receipts. All right, let's move on to FPX RNG. Still got stuff to get through. Oh, we have a clip. Oh my god, I missed it. Look at me, not even focusing. So this was Jackie Love, kind of just smurfing. Look how
Oh,
low
he's
his
doing
health
an
gets.
Uzi.
Boom,
Wow. So rather
boom
Uzi
goes
had
the
the
dynamite.
Dragon Pit fight where he had everything up and didn't use any of it. Jackie Love has a Baron Pit fight where he has everything up and uses it all.
Yeah.
But also
If you
gets all
just
the
want to
kills.
restart that really quick, I didn't realize the clip was actually this long, but I think they just end the game there. But literally, his health gets to like 1/8, not even. Like it's actually insane, and it was such a big focus. But he's like standing tall in the pit.
Yeah. So the most impressive thing is that he's out damaging a Syndra and a Zaya
Yeah,
as just the Aphelios. I mean, you got a Lulu
he was
on you, so
very
obviously
fed
that's gonna
already,
help.
but
But
you know it helps.
yeah. I mean, like, so is Zaya. That's 4 items Zaya. You're matching items. It
Yeah.
is different in a late game Aphelios to a Zaya damage, though. But, like, basically 1v2ing in DPS. The Lulu's just
Yeah.
providing a health bar and shield for you, and then the on-hit damage, which I guess with those guns does actually do quite a lot. But cool stuff.
Yep. FPX versus RNG is next up, though. It was another 2-0 quick night again. RNG actually showed out, like showed out. It was impressive to see that Way not only kind of led the charge with Breathe, but we saw a lot of influence from LP, their replacement ADC for Gala, who went over to LNG. It was a couple pretty hefty wins, about 31 minutes for the first one, 34 for the second one. 12,000 gold lead for RNG in the first one, almost 15 for them in the second.
Wow.
They also were able to pick a couple different style compositions. We had the Poppy for Breathe in game 2, as well as the Ornn in game number 1. So a little bit sad there, a little bit boring. But it was also the Kha'Zix for Wei in game 2, which is something we don't typically see from him. Typically we see a lot more facilitation come out from his side. So I love to see that. And it just felt like FPX are struggling to find the things that work for them. I think Hacker coming in once again and not finding the same individual success that Xiao Huan Gren did when he subbed in. I think it's a bit rough.
Also, shout out. Well, wasn't it Bonnie that subbed in for
Bonnie,
Hacker?
brother. Sorry, now Xiao. We
Yeah,
were
yeah,
just talking about Xiao Huan Gren.
yeah. But shout out to LWX though for still having above 10 CS per minute on a loss. That's still impressive. I mean, like it again, as an LCS fan, like I don't watch LPL. This is why we have this show, so you can catch me up on it. I'm so used to seeing sub 10 CS per minute for everybody across the board. And I've had this thought multiple. I've talked to coaches and players about this. I was like, why is that acceptable? Like from a pro player standpoint, like I feel like that should be the expectation that you're still able to hit 10 CS per minute, especially if you're winning a game to like have that. And so many times I just see players miss cannons, miss CS.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I feel like that's the easiest thing to practice because you don't need an opponent. You can just sit them down and be like, practice with different item breakpoints.
Yeah, but then you
how
add all the
CS.
stressors of opponents and things like that, and it gets a little bit more difficult.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's just crazy that you see a player. That's why I'm so impressed when I see a player like LWX. Like on 2 losses in a row, you're still getting 10.3 CS per minute. That's
buff,
crazy,
baby. World champion buff.
And I suppose, yeah, that's why he won.
We gotta go to Ultra Prime versus NIP, and I do believe we're gonna start after that interesting series for FPX into another one for NIP, where game one it was hard fought. All right, it was Ultra Prime giving them the guns. Game two they keeled over. It didn't look good.
Game one we got Kha'Zix, Draven, like all this firepower. And game two is by Zaya.
The Melio made it through. Game two, the clip that we're gonna have, you're gonna see why it is so important to be careful in 1v2 situations when you're facing a crocodile. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and bring this one up because this might be one of the craziest plays I've seen this entire year so far.
Okay, so it's Renekton 1v1ing Cassante, and then Vi comes up to help Cassante, and Renekton's down to 10 health. Flashes. Okay, it's in the brush. Oh my god. There's not even items. He's just got a pickaxe. Maybe that's
the LPL, baby.
Oh, God. LPL Renekton is filthy, man.
Yeah, Invincible's a guy in his last series actually got kind of dumpstered on, so I love to see this kind of stuff from him, but it's just good decision making. Like, he's literally buying so much time, and that indecisive step from Ning right there immediately signals to me that Invincible is the upper hand here. Like, as soon as you see worry on the faces of your enemy right there, like, it's like, easy. I can outplay this.
If you're against a Renekton, you need to kill him through the first rotation of spells, because if he gets that second rotation off, it's very tough. And they just kind of gave him all that time.
Yeah, so going back to the graphic here, Angel and Photic were popping off. 21 KDA for Photic, 10-1 and 11 on the Aphelios 2 times in a row. But Angel whipping out some of his classics. He got the Jace in game 2, but he had the Ari in game number 1. Really, really impressive stuff from NIP, who again are on a tear at this point, which is impressive stuff. They sit at 6th in the league. But that is it for our recap. Hope it was a bit long, but
Doggo did not pass
3 days of 3 best of 3s.
Doggo did not pass the 10 CS per minute on the loss, by the way.
No.
8.9. Not impressed.
Doggo, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? But that means it's our break time. It's our quiz time for Mr. Kangas. See if your coffee
break time. Is there anything after this, or is this just like the end of the episode break?
After this.
Oh, we got even a graphic popping up at the bottom. Okay.
Question time.
Oh no.
Now we're gonna enter the segment called Right Now. I don't have a better name for it. Does Kangas have enough coffee?
Caffeine check.
So couple things. Who Kai,
you're a gem.
You're the goat. There was a crazy return this last 3 days. Who came back to the Rift? Who could it be?
It was not double lift. It wasn't reckless.
No. I don't think any of
It
those
was
guys.
Uzi. Uzi's back
Oh, it
in
was
LPL,
Uzi.
baby.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Uzi came back to the
Or Uzi
LPL.
I. Sorry, it's Uzi I, right? Technically.
Return of the King. Return of the King. Does come through. Really, really nice stuff. Appreciated just having Uzi in the league.
It is technically Uzi I, right? Not Uzi. We just always say Uzi because that's like
It's
a way
Uzi.
that
I think you
Western
have
speakers would
different
say it.
pronunciations that you can do. Depends on kind of the circles that you go through. I forgot the explanation of what circle of people uses Uzi I.
I think like the
Um,
OG LPL crew, because
yeah.
I know Emily Rand says Uzi
Frost
I
Garen, I
instead of
think,
Uzi.
was one of the originals that started using Uzi I as well. But yeah.
Okay,
The
cool.
other
Well, either
thing,
way, welcome back.
welcome back, Uzi. There was a team that now at this point has taken multiple games off of top teams. Who is it? Who could it be?
Unfortunately, it's not TT. It is anyone's legend.
Let's go. All right. Look at you, Kangas, 2 for 2.
I paid attention.
Look at you paying attention. Anyone's legend have taken games off BLG and JDG so far, even though they haven't won against those two teams yet. But still good stuff from anyone's legend. Let's see, what can I make my last one? What was our who had the highest KDA of the night over their series?
Didn't I think it was Jackie Love with 24?
Yep, it was Jackie Love with 24 KDA for top esports.
Let's go.
Okay, I'll give you one more. Who had the most damage percentage? And
Wasn't it?
what was
Percentage.
Yeah, remember we were talking about the plus 40%.
It was all the way back to the first series. It was a Felios. Was it Uzi?
It was Uzi.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we had to go back.
That was the first thing we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. First thing we talked
Sweet.
about in the quiz too. Congrats.
4 out of 4. Let's go.
4. Kangas has enough coffee. The bar has been passed.
I'm
And that is our
great right
little
now.
bit of a break segment here. Now we're going to go ahead and move into the community segment where we do try to go through and find all the things that are happening across the community in the last 3 days. We're going to start off with a bit of Grandpa's on the Rift. And it's the longest LPL careers in their respective roles. Uzi and Mako now in a duo down there. As a pretty impressive list of that 5. I mean, that's an all-star roster right there. And a bunch of world champions.
Wait, so these are the 2 longest competing players currently in LPL?
In their roles, yeah.
In their roles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I believe Mako is the oldest.
There's a 2-year gap
in the league,
between them. Yeah, it's crazy.
Pretty impressive.
Old men showing up. Teaching those young whippersnappers.
Old man does 44% damage on a Felios. Feels good, man. Let's go ahead and move on to iCrystallization's tweet as showing off 120 million viewers on Billy for EDG versus IG.
What do you mean?
Rest of the world, where you at?
120. Wait, would that not mean 1.2 million?
Nope.
There's no way it was 120 million.
120.
1.2.
So it is 1.2 million.
Yeah. I was like, that's a country.
But that's still probably more than at this point LEC has had over the entire spring split.
Like,
and LCS. Not that, by themselves.
You take the most watched LEC day and the most watched LCS day and put them together, it's not this. Let's throw the English broadcast for LCK too, because that's not going to add very much. And yeah, it's not going to hit this. That's
LCK's
crazy.
English viewership is actually pretty good. Usually at like 100K.
Kai's offering to do the math.
Math is a dangerous subject in the morning. We're gonna go ahead and move on
yes,
to
as
LPL
will say, 120 million people, baby.
120 million people. Now LPL fan club did put out another tweet that I think, if I remember correctly, I'll look it up really quick. Yeah. So it was Rookie after this one, but this one was missing, talking about how it feels to be playing as a little bit of an older man, but also the fact that they're playing like literally every other day in a gauntlet style summer split over 7 weeks. And this is just something highlighting. I know that it's been a conversation in esports a lot in the past, but like player fatigue and player health and stuff. And it is something I like to consider a lot, especially with the LPL and how rigorous the schedule is. Feels a little bit bad. Uh, feels a little bit bad. So shout outs to the players for
His
like grinding it out. You see a
his
couple answers here. He's
second
like,
response. Yeah, I'm looking
yeah.
at like the one in the middle here.
What do you do for rest? I lay on my bed.
I lay on
That's
my
like,
bed.
oh no.
I like how the first response is like, "How do you guys rest during this short or tight schedule?" And his first response is what other people do. It's like other people play TFT. I don't know how to play.
I lay on my bed.
Oh
Shout
boy.
outs to you missing. Shout outs to JDG. Huge schedule for them and BLG. Really, really hoping that they can kind of tough it out. It's gonna be a long time. And then they also have Asia Games. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. Anyways, let's move on to Hoopu as they had also a little bit of information for us, if I do believe. It was the wait, what was this? Okay, yeah, it was another grandpa fact. And kind of to this vein of your 30-year-old, first 30-year-old. He is the first 26-year-old ADC to ever compete in the LPL.
Oh, ADC. Okay,
Yep.
not player ever. I was like that.
Mm-hmm.
They've never had anyone over 26. I guess that maybe makes a little more sense for 80 carry, but that's still kind of crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Wow.
I still think it's nuts the Crystal and Imp ad. It's just crazy to me. Next up, I do want to bring up it was an interesting conversation had between a Chinese basketball caster and the president of LPL, Clear Love and Uzi. And he's talking about this is long, probably won't go through the whole thing. He's talking about what Clear Love would look for in players if he's recruiting players, right? And I always find this kind of conversation very interesting. But this is such an LPL mindset looking for players, the three facts that he gives. And I just wanted to kind of take a look at that because I know you to think about the mindset of players a lot of time or like at least
Yeah.
scouting players and stuff too.
So the first one he says of the three criteria he looks for is fast reaction time. And because he considers that the most important factor in playing League. And then he goes mental, how like hard or how
Yeah.
well they handle the mental side.
And then
And
third
then
is
the third is
professionalism,
professionality. Professionalism,
which
yeah.
is not something I feel like is a key factor in NA.
Mhm.
But
Interesting.
yeah,
I like Uzi just nodding along.
five-man game. So I think it was an interesting conversation.
It's cool.
Pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. I always love that kind of mentality and seeing what the kind of background looks like to see what we're
Yeah,
looking at in terms of scouting and development.
we don't really get a lot of that question asked or answered in North America. I know that's
Yeah.
something that in the NACL we've wanted to talk with teams about in the development, and now obviously there's less teams that are doing any
Yeah.
sort of development.
No,
Which I think kind of tells you what kind of answers we probably would have gotten if we had gone forward with asking some of them. Uh,
true.
but it is a fascinating question because yeah, I think about that all the time. Like I'm not a GM. I don't think I would be a good GM, but I
Mm,
love to put myself in that mindset of like, what would I do if I was a GM or a coach? Like, what criteria would I have for trying to find players
yeah.
and the types of players I would want on my team and with my org? So yeah, it's
That's
cool to
pretty cool.
hear coaches talk about that.
Next up, we got a bit of a heartwarming one here. We have Rookie being interviewed by his wife, a girlfriend rather, sorry, Hilda. And it is just beyond adorable. He starts off as I'm not gonna look at my girlfriend. and
Mm.
starts asking the questions. Did you wake up before the game? I go up during the games. And it was
Nah.
kind of the theme for top esports. They all seemed very tired. But Rookie with the jaded answer of your Ari's Q is hit. What's the secret? I play too many games. I think it's
I
great.
like this next one. What was the reason for Mark picking champs?
Yeah.
Mark said he's very tired today, so he wanted to play Yumi. Then our coach banned Yumi.
That's so I want to go ahead and bring up the next one really quick then, because we actually have a video of that response, which I thought was just hilarious. Just the way that he's nonchalantly saying it as well. It's just like, yeah, he felt tired. He really wanted to play Yubi. I just love the carry sentiment too.
That's
He's
good.
like, he just wanted to get carried. It's good times, good times.
Mhm.
Mark, shout outs to you, the laziest of the bunch. Maybe deservedly so. Who knows? Let's go to our next one here, as well as this one's a little bit more closer to our developmental home. As Tong Yuan is getting his first interview, he was the sub in for RNG after Xiao Hu left last split, and right before Angel came in. Angel took his spot. Tong Yuan was the sub for a long little while, and now he is the full-on starter since Angel has departed. So the man finally gets it, and I just love seeing this kind of development from a guy who felt like he was being put into a mold of trying to be Xiaohu 2.0. He was trying to fill big shoes that RNG didn't have really any answers for. And now we actually get to see a lot of pop-up performances from him and a lot of confidence from mid lane. You get to see a little bit of that in the interview.
Very stereotypical rookie answers, right? It's like,
Yeah.
what's everyone's identity? It's like, we got the 3 veterans and then 2
I
little
love that
brothers.
though. I love the three
What
OGs.
kind of player do you want to be? Somebody that the team can trust. These are like the very stereotypical like rookie answers. But it's still cute.
It's very cute. So shout out to you, Tong Yuan. And now that means we get to our last thing, and it's the Mazel moment. As
The
I
Mazel
pick out my
PL
favorite
moment.
moment of the entirety of the last 3 days, and it had to be when Mr. Uzi went on a little emotional speech here. So let's go ahead and take a look. As it was a really nice interview, and you could just see the emotion on his face. And he posted a bunch afterwards. There was a lot of really, really cool stuff coming out of this one. Had a lot of fan sentiment for him. But the king is back, man. The king is fucking back. And I love to see how much he cares, how passionate, how much this means to him. I got to see glimpses of this in the show matches. You could see how much he cared about being back on stage in those show matches when it wasn't even for anything important. So it just feels so good.
I'm just taking in the moment too. You can tell, yeah,
Yeah.
he's.
Hey, so is he.
I forget the name of this interviewer, but I like what she did there, of like kind of giving him a moment to fill in some of that time.
hmm
That's cute.
Yeah. Even talking about like the comeback, the lead into the comeback, right? He's got to be always pelted with questions like that, right? You remain one of the
Yeah.
greatest of all time that never won any international that in worlds, and I think that like that still is such a stain that people are like, "Are you coming back? Are you gonna try to win worlds? Are you gonna try to make something happen?" And that's stressful, man.
Yeah. It must especially hurt because he was still competing towards kind of the tail end of where he was considered a legend or like
See,
one of the
is he
best in the
playing
region.
again? Makes me happy. I'm gonna fucking cry over here, man. It's so like, it's so
He was
good.
always on the teams that was like, okay, is LPL gonna compete at this Worlds back in 2016 to 18, and then finally LPL does win Worlds, but it's not the
Yeah,
Uzi team, and
yeah.
yeah, he had to kind of then live through that. Like, okay, it is
And
possible for
and then
LPL
he
teams
came
to get
back to
it.
BLG, and then they
Yeah,
sucked.
yeah.
He, like, he, him and Doggo were splitting time. It's like, oh man, it's crazy. But that's Mazel's moment. Uzi, shout outs to the king. So happy you're back, and I get to cast him 2 times next week. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Anyways, we're gonna get to our outro as there's a pretty big matchup on the horizon, and it is a MSI rematch. BLG will be taking on JDG. Let's see if they can win a fifth time's the charm. you know,
Fifth time's the charm, baby. Okay, but I'm very confused why this is the match of the week and not the true match, which is,
because
of
nobody
course,
cares about that match.
Sunday at 12
We
a.m., the
explained
first
earlier why
hour
nobody
of the
cares about
entire
TT
day.
and
We
IP.
will T versus Nip. on an official broadcast, and we will all be there. I'm telling all my friends. I told multiple Discord servers we're gonna
Yes.
raid the
He's actually
chat,
gonna stay up
and
for
it's just
games,
gonna be
y'all. It's crazy.
spam TT versus Nip,
It's
and
crazy.
that's it. That's gonna
Anyways,
be all Twitch
real
chat.
match of the week, JDG BLG. Make sure you look forward to that one coming up later this week as well. But this has been episode 9 of Coffee Before Bed, an LPL talk show. It's been a pleasure to walk you through the last 3 days. Make sure that you're tuning in as we'll be back again in 3 days' time on the 19th, where we'll be covering the 3 days prior and maybe even looking at this match of the week here. So it's been a pleasure. Kangas, Kai, thank you all for joining me. And everyone else, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you are subscribing to our Spotify and check out all of our stuff on Twitter. We'll see you next time.
Bye.